Thank you so much for this one. Let me start with this presentation. I think, is it just a minute. I'm trying to. I'm trying to find my presentation here. Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Can you hear
me? I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm trying to get my presentation here. Is my presentation seen on the screen? Chintan, yeah, the presentation screen just show me.
No, sir. So
Okay,
do you need help?
No, here.
徐老师，帮尼泊尔记者，尼泊尔记者。
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, now it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Chintan, better one. So here, this is content analysis, and it's about the Western media reporting on Xinjiang. This is bad. Sharing stop. No. Oh. Stupid camera. Right. Okay. I think this is okay now. Somebody? Okay. Let's go. Okay. So somebody is sharing my presentation here?
Yeah. We can show you PowerPoint. Please continue.
Okay. Thank you. So my presentation will start with the introduction of Xinjiang, of course, and what journalism is, and how Western media perspectives on Western media, and some ideas about content analysis and the objective methodology of this content analysis, and then the findings and conclusion. So the next slide. It's not working. Screen share. Could you share the next screen? Next slide. Yeah, काम गर्ने So my friends, colleagues from Afghanistan and Pakistan have already talked much about Xinjiang, its development and other things. I can see the slides here. Could you share the slides on the screen? It's not working. I will do by the end. I finished it. Wait. So finally, I think I have managed to fix the problem here. So in terms of geography, Xinjiang covers a sixth of the total area of China, and but Xinjiang has very little inhabitable area. It's like 9.7% of the total area of Xinjiang. That's it lies in the northwestern region of the People's Republic of China. And then if we talk about its population, it's like 25.85 million by October 2020, and we have different ethnic groups here, like 44.96% are Uyghur Muslims and 42.24% are Han Chinese, and then there are like people following different religions, Muslims and Buddhism, Catholicism, Protestantism, and other religions as well. Then in terms of nationalities or ethnic groups, we have Uyghur, we have Kazakh, we have Han, we have Hui, we have Mongolian, we have Kyrgyz, and Shibe, Tajik, Uzbek, Manchu, Tao, Tatar, and Russian as well. So we also see increase in the population of Uyghur Muslims, like by 1.62 million in a decade. So we see that Uyghur Muslims are the majority ethnic groups in Xinjiang. And in terms of political administration, we have, this is one of the 5 ethnic autonomous regions of China. And according to the constitution, the whole region has been as 5 autonomous prefectures for 4 ethnic groups: Kazakh, Hui, Kyrgyz, and Mongolian. And there are 6 autonomous counties for 5 ethnic groups: Kazakh, Hui, Mongolian, Tajik, and Shibe, 43 ethnic townships. So Xinjiang is subdivided into prefecture and townships, and they are also led by, depending on the townships and prefectures are led by the ethnic groups, which is there in the majority. And they are divided as per the majority of the ethnic groups. So that is how there is political administration. And there is a lot of talk about, our friends have already talked about the GDP and development of Xinjiang. So I have also mentioned like a 148.54 billion in 2001. It was the GDP of Xinjiang, and now it has soared to 1.4 trillion in 2020. So we can see the increase of GDP, and we can guess the development in terms of this gross development, gross domestic product of the region. And Xinjiang produces 20% global supply of cotton as well, almost 90% of China's cotton production. So we have, Xinjiang has gone ups and downs. There was extremism plagued region to peaceful one. So this is its extremism plagued region past and peaceful one now. Now in 2020, a UN report said that almost 4,000 Uyghur fighters were fighting in Syria in 2020. So that's the report. And then ATM was in the list of terrorist list organization till November 2020. The USA was listing it as the terrorist organization, ATM, which stands for East Turkmenistan Islamic Movement. And we also have in record 22 Uyghurs Muslim were arrested from Afghanistan in 2001 and taken to Guantanamo prison by the US. And then from 1990 to 2016, thousands of terrorist attacks plagued the vast land of Xinjiang. Large number of innocent lives were lost in horrific stabbings, shootings, and bombings. So it's a report of CGT, and it was a very, very violent place to be in Xinjiang. Now, according to another report, like 13,000 terrorists were arrested by Chinese authorities in 2014 in Xinjiang. The Chinese security forces destroyed 1,588 violent and terrorist gangs, arrested 12,995 terrorists, seized 2,052 explosive devices, punished 30,645 people for 4,858 illegal religious activities, and confiscated 345,229 copies of illegal religious materials. So that is the history of our present situation of that Xinjiang. Now, this is Xinjiang has progressed a lot. It was a very violent region. It was plagued by extremist, terrorist, separatist organizations and attacks like East Turkmenistan Islamic Party, and how the Western media has reported it in terms of we'll be talking about their presentation of reporting of Xinjiang in the eyes of journalism. So let me talk about journalism. It's like a profession, as we all know, of writing for newspapers or television or online. Now, some basic standards of journalism are like truthfulness, fair, factuality, balance, objectivity, neutrality, credibility, and accuracy. These are some basic principles of journalism. And now let me talk about the Western media. So news here, Western media means like news media based in the Western developed countries. We have scholars' views on Western media, like Dennis McWell says most of the Western media reports are deficient. And then we have this hostile to socialism. Their Western media are hostile to socialism. And then according to Herman and Chomsky in their book, they carry out system supportive propaganda function. So these are the views on Western media. And then according to another report, this Western media are very, very powerless with regard to professional journalism. And then they are also anti-communist, or they suppose anti-communism as religion. That's all about Western media. Now, what is content analysis? As we all know, it's like trying to find the meaning by reading between the lines. Content analysis is uncovering of hidden meaning in a given text, discourse, or message disseminated by means of mass media. It is a process of summarizing the content. So we'll be summarizing two ways of like qualitative and quantitative. Two approaches can be applied for content analysis. So Weber says, 1990 says, content analysis is a research method and that uses a set of procedures to make valid inferences from the text. And so objective of this research, or even this presentation, is to examine how fair, objective, impartial, and factual are the news stories published or broadcast online by some representative Western media with regard to Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. So I have applied both qualitative and quantitative approach for content analysis in this research. A total of 216 news stories related to Xinjiang and published broadcast online from 2000 14 to June 2021 were retrieved and studied for the analysis. And then I have analyzed some 14 news stories out of 216 studied for in-depth analysis. And this in-depth analysis is done by applying principles of professional journalism, as I talked earlier, to check biasness, distortion, lying, suppression or omission of evidence in using framing, presentation, logical consistency, source of news information, verifying of source as heuristic. So how evidence is suppressed, what is the angle of the news, whether it is objective or fair or not. So these are the some ways that I have used.
Hello, Linda.
Hello?
I'm sorry, you have 1 minute to draw conclusion. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. So I'll try to finish. So BBC, CNN, AP, I have selected 3 news outlets, and I have because only 3 media selected and very few news stories analyzed. It has some limitations. So if we see the news stories from 2 sides, you have till 2014 or 15, Xinjiang was reported as a region of violent attacks. And since 2018 to 21, you have the news stories focused on forced labor, human rights abuses, and abortion, and so on. All about human rights abuses in Xinjiang. Then you have 2 pictures. This is CNN in 2014 terrorist attack in Xinjiang, and then here now in 2021, if you see CNN, then we have this genocide stories in Xinjiang. So if we see latest headlines like Biden bans certain solar panels materials from Chinese. So this is all banning about Chinese products from Xinjiang. And then we also have some topics like Syria, Uyghur fighters fighting in Syria, and then aiming at China. Then these are the news stories lately being produced in Western media. So what happens is what sources are quoted. So that also makes the news. Whether news story is fair or not, balanced or not, biased or not, depends on the source. There have been Dr. Adrian James, who is anti-communist by his involvement. He is quoted in most of the news, and Sin Roberts, who made this documentary long ago about separating Xinjiang from China. So he is quoted a lot, and ASPI, this is kind of think tank, but this think tank is quoted a lot in Western media. CSIS, a lot quoted in Western media, and this one, World Uyghur Congress. This is also quoted a lot as news source, and all these are funded by the U.S. government in this or that way, like NED, National Endowment for Democracy and Radio Free Asia. This is also funded by NED, National Endowment for Democracy, and they are all used as a source of news for the Western media, and which cannot be, because they are all biased, they cannot be very fair. Now we have this exiled Uyghurs in Europe, USA, and Turkey. So they are also used as source of news or information for the Western media. And we know UN report in July 2020 said ATM, which was the organization which was fighting in Syria. So that ATM was even funded by or supported by the Uyghur community in Turkey. So what is suppressed is sources omitted is local Uyghurs. They are never talked.
I'm sorry.
I am free